welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're discussing the TV series, the hit TV series, critically acclaimed.
It seems to have good reviews.
I know, people are wrong. American Gods. But first, what did you like this week, Dan?
I have a couple things. The first was the James Bond 007 comic, written by Warren Ellis and drawn by a guy named Masters, or a woman, sorry. I didn't catch that first name. Anyway, the first issue, or the first volume is called Varger, and the second one's called Eidolon. I haven't picked up the second one yet, but the first one was super good, far better than I would expect from a James Bond comic. Like, you think this would be just trash, but no, it was really cool. It was like watching a good Bond story or reading it.
Cool.
And it does some cool Bond stuff, fights, gadgets. There's an actual story, so highly recommend.
Nice.
And I'm gonna get the second one. And then the second thing, and it just concluded, was HBO's miniseries Chernobyl.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Super good. Very intense, well acted, well put together, everything about it. If you haven't checked it out, it's only 5 episodes, so check it out for sure.
I can't cancel my crave.
Well, that's right. But through other means.
Yeah.
On an HBO replay or something. But anyway, super good. HBO's Chernobyl.
Cool. I have 2 things I liked and 1 thing I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
What should I start with? The good, the bad?
Whatever you want to talk about.
I did not like the live action remake of Aladdin.
Yes.
It wasn't good. None of it was good. Actually, you know what? I'll walk that back. I really liked Princess Jasmine's costumes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
1 positive thing.
There you go. Out of a $200 million movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Things I liked.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Vegas.
Oh, yeah, very
and
cool.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I really had fun. That was the thing that I liked.
There you go.
I saw lots of shows. They were good. The end. And then the other thing that I liked was I finally watched John Wick.
Oh, yeah, right.
The first one. I haven't watched the second one. But I would like to, because I want to see the third one in theaters now, because it seems like a good theater-going experience.
Yeah. Oh, and actually that reminds me, there was another thing I wanted to mention that I've been really liking. The World Series of Poker has started.
Oh, nice.
Which I enjoy watching poker a lot, and there's a lot of cool events. The main event hasn't started, which is the one that everyone kind of knows about and is on TV a lot, but there's all sorts of other events, and they are playing now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll get down to the meat and potatoes of the show.
Well, and here was a question I just thought in my brain, because I know...
I was going to say what it was. American Gods.
Right. Well, you said it at the top.
I know, but I rushed through it.
Right. Because this show, we watched it on Prime.
Yes.
But in the States, does it play on Stars?
On Stars, yeah.
Because I was going to say, I was reading some stuff.
The second season ended up being the second best rated show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Surprising.
Well, I guess people were curious as to what's going on. So, American Gods.
Okay, so the original book
yes,
was written by Neil Gaiman.
From 2001.
It's one of my favorite books.
It's a great book.
Of all time.
I highly would recommend reading it.
I would recommend reading almost everything by Neil Gaiman. I don't really enjoy short stories because I don't enjoy short stories.
Right.
And I found his book about Norse gods really difficult to read. Oh, yeah. No, it's because I got the audiobook. And
oh, really?
He read it, and I just was getting so confused because I couldn't look back at which
character they're referring to. Yeah. Because he definitely uses like the original-ish names as close as he can and stuff. Even reading it, I was kind of like, that's that same guy, right?
Who's he talking about now?
Yeah.
But the rest of his books, I've really enjoyed. I've read, I think, all of them.
I think I've come close as well. And then for anyone who doesn't know, American Gods is followed up by Anansi Boys. Yeah. Which is also really good.
Yeah.
And the character of Anansi is in American Gods.
I find Anansi Boys is that how you say it? I thought it was Anansi, but maybe
no, it's there's an extra N in there. Pretty sure it's Anansi.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that one's more like a almost a comedic modern.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, versus American Gods, which is a lot more...
Serious.
Yeah. But he also wrote Stardust, which is a great book, and turned into a pretty good movie with Claire Danes and...
Robert De Niro.
Oh, yeah. Isn't Michelle Pfeiffer a witch in it? Yeah, she is.
Yes.
Yeah. And he wrote Good Omens with Terry Pratchett, which is now on Prime
Yeah.
as a TV show, which I watched the first episode of. And
Oh.
it's very pleasantly.
It's getting ahead. That's next time.
Sorry. And what else did he write? He wrote Neverwhere.
Neverwhere is great.
I'm looking at my bookshop with my voice sounds weird. And Ocean at the End of the Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you read that?
Yeah.
Fuck, I cried like the whole book.
Yeah, it's pretty
like,
intense.
Page 1, I am lonely. And Fortunately the Milk, which is a graphic novel for kids.
Oh.
Yeah, you can borrow it if you want. It'll take you 10 minutes to read it.
Nice.
The art in it's really cool. Not drawn by Neil Gaiman.
Well, and we haven't read one of his bigger ones though. Was Sandman,
Oh, yeah.
which I have
Doy.
read. Yeah. Which of course was a comic series he did, and it's critically acclaimed and blah 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 blah, and for good reason. It's pretty amazing, especially for the time.
It's the Goth Bible.
Yeah. Especially for the time, right? Because that wasn't really in vogue or in style. And
Didn't he do the Marvel series where they went back to like 1642? Is that it?
I think it's 1602.
Okay.
Which was also really cool.
Yeah.
I've read that as well.
I remember.
Yeah. So he's prolific and done all sorts of amazing things, but this one...
He's married to Amanda Palmer.
He is.
They get in trouble on Twitter all the time.
But this one turned into this 2 seasons so far of a show, and here was one thing that was odd. I thought it was going to end after 2 seasons.
So did I.
I actually honestly thought it was going to end after 1, but then I knew there was 2 because I haven't watched it till now. So-
Well, yeah, because I think I watched season 1 when it came out.
Yes, you did.
And I was
Lukewarm, I want to say.
lukewarm to...
Ambivalent.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Just gonna get this... Before we get into the show at all.
Sure.
It is possible to adapt a book to a film or series
Sure.
without sticking to every event that happens in the book.
Yeah.
You can capture the feeling of the book without capturing the
events
plot.
or whatever.
Right.
Or the plot.
Yeah. And like a good example of that is I'd say like Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a true screen like the
Right.
screenplay doesn't follow the book completely. Another one not by Neil Gaiman, that Chocolat was a book.
Right.
But they also made a movie with Juliette Binoche and Johnny Depp. And they vary significantly, the plots.
And I was going to say a good example as well is the Modern Born series of movies.
Oh, yeah.
The books are written during Cold War era.
Oh, yeah.
Born takes place during that time, but the movies, of course, do not. They take place in modern time, but they capture very much the feel and the same idea.
Yeah, so the feel's the same, and like the tone is the same, and like with Chocolat, it's like that kind of magical nostalgia kind of deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, it's not the same, but you know, it's like she's a chocolate witch, whatever.
I haven't seen it or read Chocolat, sorry.
Is it? You know, it's alright.
Okay.
I like
Anyway.
it. It's one of those comforting movies that I could watch in books that I could read over and over again, but it's like this isn't changing my life.
Right. But sidetrack, sorry.
Yeah. And I did Stardust. It's kind of like a weird fairy tale.
Yeah.
Cool. Whatever. American Gods, for me, right out of the gate, did not capture the feeling that I got from the book.
Right.
And I know that a lot of people disagree with me because a lot of people really, really like the series and also really like the book. So I don't know if I just... This is my disclaimer.
Yeah, like have a different vision or a different idea.
I don't know if I just got a different feeling from the book
Right.
than everybody else.
Well, it's possible, but that's interpretation. That's art, right?
Yeah, and because of the feeling of the show, I kind of almost feel like even if it stuck to point by point of the plot,
Right.
I might not have enjoyed it. And it's got nothing to do with the actors.
Yeah, no, the
I
actors
think
are
it's
really
a
good.
wonderfully cast show.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I
Just
can't
something about
put
it.
my finger on it.
Yeah.
But I just don't like it. I've been avoiding watching season 2 until we decided to do this episode.
Yeah, well, and that was one of the things as well that I knew you weren't too keen on the show because of the fact that you had literally not watched it, despite having access to it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, there's two seasons, 8 episodes a piece.
Yeah.
I felt that the series started off like kind of. I was like, okay, you know, it's like
The first episode didn't have the feeling for me, but I felt like it was following the book pretty closely.
Yeah, that's what kind of where I was going to drive at, where it was like, okay, you know, it's just setting up the characters. You meet Shadow, you meet Wednesday, you know, you meet a few other people. And I was like, all right. And, you know, he gets into the fight with Sweeney at the bar, and I was like, yeah, that was good stuff. You know?
Yeah.
They make the
I didn't
compact.
like Sweeney at first, but I really liked him by the end of season 2.
He grew on me. I actually liked him less in season 2 compared to season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Season 2, I thought, like, maybe the last 2 episodes, I didn't like very much of Sweeney's stuff.
I didn't like what they did with his relationship arc.
Yes. Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
But I think that I had just watched Orange is the New Black right before I watched American Gods.
Right.
And he plays an asshole prison guard
Oh, really?
in Orange is the New Black.
Nice.
Plays porn stash for anybody who cares. I'm pretty sure I'm not making that up. Who knows? I get everyone mixed up. If he didn't, he kind of looks like that
Well,
guy.
I would say his name is Pablo Schreiber. So.
I think it's him. Now
there you
I
go.
don't know. Anyways, he reminded me of him if
Sure.
it wasn't him. And I didn't like him because of that. So I guess he's a very good actor because I couldn't separate the actor from the part.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, now I like him better because I haven't watched Orange is the New Black in a long time.
Right. Well, and like we sometimes do, okay, so basic plot is here. Shadow meets Wednesday. Wednesday hires him to be a bodyguard. And he's like, hey, we're just going to travel America. And you're just going to, like, you know, look out for me.
Yeah.
And Wednesday's meeting some peoples. He's trying to sign them up for something. And everyone's like, no, blah, blah, blah. And as it continues on, well, or, you know, unless you're not paying attention, everyone he's meeting is a god.
Yeah.
An old god.
An old god that is brought to America
Yes.
by their followers.
Before we continue, here was something that I wanted to say. Because when I was watching the first episode, it kind of starts kind of neat. It's like, oh, these Vikings land in the New World. They get attacked, and then they're like, oh, no, we got to try to leave. And they're making, you know, effigies, and they're trying to pray to Odin's for help, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, he's a war god. And then they just start fighting, and then they just do, like, anime blood spray, and there's random gore. And I was like, this is, like, the first minute of the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, did they need this to try to get noticed as a show, being like, oh, we're gory and edgy like Game of Thrones?
I do think that this show suffers from we have to be like Game of Thrones.
Right, it's not just me on that.
No.
Yeah.
Especially, I should, listen, guys, I love you, my listeners, our listeners, but I did not rewatch season 1. I went straight into season 2.
Yes.
Because I just didn't want to.
Yeah, like the scene where they're stabbing some of their eyes out, and I was
No,
like,
but I was gonna say sex-wise, they bring in lots of nudity in season 2.
Well, and even season 1 has a good fair share of it.
I don't remember.
Right.
Oh, I guess it does, hey, with that one Sheba?
Yeah, with Bilquis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they keep calling her the Queen of Sheba in the second season. Don't they?
No, it's Bilquis. Sheba's the cat one.
Oh, they're talking about 2 different people.
Yes.
Goodbye.
So yeah, they're meeting gods, and Odin, Mr. Wednesday, is recruiting people because he wants to go to war with the new gods who are taking over.
Yeah.
And getting all the worship and
So it's like
etc.
technology, media. In the book, don't they mention credit cards?
Yeah, like it's like fiber optic cables or fiber optics and like digital. Well, they kind of mention digital money when they meet money in season 2.
Yeah, that's right.
So we kind of bring that in, yeah.
Can I ask you a really dumb question? Because
Okay.
I can't remember from the book. Is Mr. World a character in the book?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and I don't.
Goodbye.
Maybe at the end I could talk a bit about, of course, what happens at the end of the book. But anyway, I really did
That was
like.
some good casting.
Yeah, no.
Crispy Glover.
Crispin Glover. Well, here, let's go through the cast since we're talking a bit about it.
Let's talk about the cast.
So Ricky Whittle is his name, plays Shadow Moon.
Yeah, I have never seen him in anything before.
Me neither.
He's great.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
He's not what I pictured Shadow Moon as,
Right.
but I think he's great. I pictured Shadow to be a little bit less cut and more just
Yeah, I picture him
Manny.
bulkier.
Yeah,
Like,
bulkier.
a little bulkier, right? But he.
But he's fine.
Yeah, no,
He's also attractive.
Yeah. And then his wife, Laura Moon, Emily Browning, aka Dead Wife.
I do love that he calls her Dead Wife.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah, her performance goes back and forth, but I think it's also the character where she's just like stone dead-eyed, like nothing.
Yeah.
But then you're also, it's like, I don't know. She does a good job.
The way she says puppy feels weird to me.
Yes.
It doesn't feel loving, and I don't know if they're doing that on purpose.
Right.
Whereas, like, in the book, I always read it as loving.
Right.
So, there you go. There's another misinterpretation.
Yeah. I mentioned Crispin Glover, plays Mr. World.
He's so creepy. It's so good.
Yeah. As soon as he was on screen the first time, because you kind of hear his voice off screen, and I was like, is that Crispin Glover? And then he came on screen, and I was like, oh man, it is. And I was like, he looks so creepy.
So we both watched this on Prime, and as a side note, as a thing that I like about Prime Video, if you hover your mouse over the screen, it'll tell you the actors that are in the scene.
Right.
And I
really?
appreciate that.
I thought it would, because I remember doing it once, but I thought it was just talking about the actors, like, in the show, like, overall.
No, it tells you in the specific scene.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because his performance throughout the entire series, I think, is one of the best.
Yeah, totally.
And then we got Bilquis, who's played by Yetidi Badaki. I'm sure I butchered that, sorry. She's the sex goddess.
Never seen her before, but I thought she was great. Mm-hmm. She's beautiful. Does it well.
Yeah, so she plays like an old world African goddess.
She looks timeless.
Yeah.
Like, she kind of looks like a goddess. So.
Well, and it's always weird they give her like a sheen on her face. I assume it's the makeup and lighting.
Yeah, I think they give her some highlighter or something all over her face.
Yeah. And then we got Bruce Langley, plays Technical Boy, I didn't know his name was Technical Boy until just now, and he becomes Quantum Boy at the end of season 2.
Oh, does he?
But he's the annoying one.
Yeah, he is pretty good at being irritating.
Yeah. Which I guess, like his performance, I'm like, wow, that guy, he deserves a punch in the face.
Yep, I agree.
But he's kind of posited as Mr. World's, like...
lackey.
Just, his first lackey, where he's doing the things to get in the armies and, like, trying to make the moves against Odin. Mm-hmm. And then you got Pablo Schreiber, who I mentioned, Matt Sweeney, the leprechaun from Russia.
Great. Oh, we forgot to mention Jillian. Are you reading it in an order? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. I thought you were reading. It seemed like you were grouping things together.
No, there's no grouping. It's just a random list.
Okay. Yeah.
Random list. Sorry.
Anyways, Matt Sweeney's great.
Yeah, he's super good. Like I said, when I first was, I was kind of like, but I actually really do. I like his performance and his character.
Yeah.
A little less in the second season, but in the first season, I really
didn't appreciate the flashbacks. However, I did think he looked very appropriate in them.
Yeah, absolutely, he did.
Yeah, he looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like as the series goes, because the plot thread is that he gave his coin away, his lucky coin, accidentally, and then when he's away from it, bad things happen to him.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's very comedic and everything. It's always just so minor thing, like, his lighter won't, light, or but then he's, steals a boat, and then it catches fire, and, stuff like that happens. Which I
guess we'll get to,
yeah, sure, I guess.
dissimilarities later.
Sure.
Okay.
And then, of course, Ian McShane as Mr. Wednesday.
He's great.
Super great.
He always plays the same character, because he's the same person in what did I just watch? John Wick.
In John Wick, yeah.
He's always the same character, and I like it.
Yeah, no, it works really well in this role.
Yeah. What else was he in that I saw him in recently?
He was in Game of Thrones, of course. Cowboy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's always Wednesday, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good character for him.
Yeah. Well, and some of the times when he slips into where he's con man, it works really well as well.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. There's some good stuff there. Let's see, we got Demore Barnes, who's Mr. Ibis, who's the funeral guy. Writing his
good.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him.
Mm-hmm. Omid Abtahi, sorry. He plays Salim, the cab driver.
Oh yeah, that's a role that got super expanded.
Yes, which was something I was going to bring up, of course. That
just like Laura Moon.
Just like Laura Moon and just like the sex goddess.
Yeah. But I like him.
Yeah, I guess it works well because he's the show goes on, of course, you're meeting all these old world gods, and he still believes in Allah, and he's still praying to him, and all that kind of stuff like that. And he's just like, dude, like,
they're like, we're right here. And
we're right here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's only one god.
Yeah. And this guy,
he's sweet and stuff too.
Sure.
Really, he's a likable character, and the actor does a good job.
yeah, absolutely. I think this character, Orlando Jones, really knocks it out of the park. I think as Mr. Nancy or Nancy.
Yeah, some of the dialogue that was written for him, I feel... I texted this to you. I'm like, I don't think a white person should be writing about black people's struggles.
Yes, his dialogue, especially I was really put off by his intro because, okay, we don't know all these gods' powers, fine. But Nancy shows up the first time and it's in a slave ship and he's wearing modern clothing and he's talking about modern political problems. And I was like, he should not know this unless he can see the future, I guess.
I think that they put him in modern clothing in case you didn't recognize him later.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't like that intro. I liked his performance, but I just didn't. I was like...
He's really an excellent actor.
Yeah. Which is crazy considering he's from Mad TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And on a side note, I'd like to say that his wardrobe is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, so fantastic.
Costuming on this show is pretty excellent.
Yeah, super fantastic. Let's see. Sorry, I'm taking way too much time on this. Musha Karish was the Jinn.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Then we get to our media characters. Gillian Anderson in season 1 as media.
So for me,
yes,
Gillian Anderson was the standout of season 1.
Absolutely. She was great. Although I think, like I said, I like Crispin Glover's performance, but she always had a different costume and always was playing a different role.
Oh, totally. Yeah. She did such a good job.
Yes.
And, I'm just like, Sky.
Yeah, basically. And then Kaeun Kim plays new media in season 2.
Yep. She sure does.
She sure does indeed.
And I'm sure she's a lovely person and an excellent actress.
Yeah.
But I do not appreciate
what
they're doing.
Yeah, I don't
it's
like
not for me, I guess.
Exactly. Like, it's the character as it is. This guy, Peter Stormare, plays Chenabog.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty good.
He's super great. He's like dirty Russian guy with his beard and smoking all the time.
I feel like that's the character he always plays.
Yes.
That's all right.
And it's totally all right. Almost finished here, because really you could talk about all of them, but it's Sakina Jaffrey plays Mama G.
Yeah. Oh, I like her a lot, actually. Yeah. And I like her diners that she's at every diner.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny touch, because she's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then Cloris Leachman plays Zoria. Oh, I'm going to butcher that. Vechenaya, which was one of the evening stars, the one who dies.
Yeah. She was good too.
Yes, she was really good.
So we're gonna I think we should get into the production problems before we get into the plot.
Oh, really? I thought we could get into the plot and then do the production problems afterwards. Because it would affect our opinions.
Well, because can I mention somebody that I liked in season 1 that did not go on to do season 2 then?
Sure. I
really liked Kristen Chenoweth as Easter.
Yes.
I thought she was great.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in the book, and I mean this is like, if you want to split hairs, which we don't need to split hairs because there's huge problems. But if you want to split hairs, in the book, Easter is kind of described as slightly overweight, and she talks about her thighs rubbing together, and then Shadow's like, oh my god, why am I thinking about her thighs? This is terrible. So they didn't get that right, but if they're gonna replace somebody that's curvy with somebody, they found the best person to do it.
Right. Yeah, I thought I didn't remember those details, but I did.
I don't know why that's always stuck. There's parts of the book that are so glued into my head that I could almost say them verbatim.
Right.
And there's parts of the book
that are just gone.
That I don't remember that are part of the plot. Right. But yeah, I really, really liked Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
I was sorry that she wasn't in season 2, and I hated that they explained it away in a one sentence of dialogue saying it was because Wednesday ran over some bunnies.
Even though in season 1 he said we were not going to be welcome because I'm going to run over these bunnies.
Yeah.
So it was it was already smoothed over.
And it was the climax of season 1 to get her on their side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, indeed. Well, we've already mentioned a little bit. Let's see.
I'm drinking tea. If people hear me sleeping.
Anyway, so Shadow eventually, he gets caught up with some of the new gods. They try to lynch him. All those guys get killed. We don't know why. It's revealed later that it's his wife, Laura Moon, was there protecting him. Because she's super strong because of the coin.
Oh yeah, she has superhuman strength.
Yeah. Basically, the lucky coin, Shadow accidentally got it, flicked it onto the grave of his wife. It fell down, brought her back to life. Get her super strength as well. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like not much happens.
Okay, that happens.
Sure.
They go to see the Russians.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the most basic.
Yeah, because like we could talk about other elements here.
They go to see the Russians.
Yeah.
They go to see Easter, and then they're gonna meet a bunch of gods at the House on the Rock.
House on the Rock, yeah.
That's where season 1 ends.
Yeah.
Season 2 starts with the House on the Rock.
Yeah, which for me, that should have been the climax of season 1.
Oh, obviously.
Because I was like, as soon as I was watching that first episode, I was like, this should have been the climax of season 1. This is super good stuff. And then him getting kidnapped at the end, I'm like, that's a perfect cliffhanging ending to a season.
Yeah. Okay, so House on the Rock has a carousel. They go on the carousel that brings them to, what's it called, backstage?
Yeah, backstage, which is in Odin's memory.
In Odin's memory, a bunch of the other old gods are there.
Yeah.
They have
a parlay.
A talky talk.
Yeah, and then they don't want to do their war, but Shadow convinces them, hey, you should do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what happens after that.
Well, that's where Mr. World's like, sometimes you gotta like, the old ways are the best ways, and then he gets Technical Boy with a gun, and then he manages to shoot one of the gods, Chenderbog's sister.
Oh, I thought Mr. Town... Oh, yeah, because they go to the diner.
Yeah, and then Town kidnaps Shadow.
Oh, I thought Town was doing the shooting.
No, it was Technical Boy.
I like the actor that plays Mr. Town.
Yes.
What's his name?
I don't know, I don't have
He's in everything.
He is literally in everything.
He was in... Law and Order SVU as one of the detectives and love interest to Olivia.
Oh.
You don't care. Nobody cares.
But he's been in so many things.
That'll be, when I get through Orion, that'll be my next long series. Every episode of...
I don't think we're posting that.
That's me.
Yeah, that would be a long series. But yeah, so Shadow gets kidnapped. And then, this was so weird. Okay, so you skipped through all my notes of season 1 here. Let me see.
Okay, so Shadow gets kidnapped and we need a filler episode where we get backstory. It doesn't matter to fucking anything.
I know, this was so confusing to me. I was like, why are they telling us Shadow's backstory?
They give us the origin of this coin that Shadow plays with. That's what that is.
Yeah, but I was like, why? Because here's again, when I was watching this, I thought this show was going to wrap up this season.
Yeah, me too.
So I was like, wow, this is a lot of time spent on this.
So we get a really boring backstory for Shadow that nobody cares about.
Yeah. But it was cool. There was a cool scene with the Leprechaun and Dead Wife. And they travel through the Horde to find the train.
Oh yeah, that was alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Odin and Nancy are off.
Yeah, they're on the road, just in the car.
Yeah, doing their thing.
Yeah.
Dead Wife and Leprechaun are looking for Shadow Moon because he lights up to Dead Wife.
Yeah.
This is going to be so much more interesting if you've watched the season. Otherwise, you're going to be so confused. Shadow Moon is hooked up to a weird thing that kind of makes him look Jesus-y.
Yes.
And he is remembering his childhood and then...
Sort of being tortured.
Mr. Town is being cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Jesuses, sorry, though, we should go back. That Easter episode had a ton of Jesuses all over the place. And, I don't know, there was that kind of a funny moment where he's sitting on the pool, and then he drops his drink and it just sinks into the water. And he's like, damn it. So,
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, no, that was, because that was the whole point was, Jesus gets all the praise on Easter, and that's how Wednesday convinces Easter to join him, because he's like, hey, get back, and then we can, get you some real praise. But yeah, the whole thing with Shadow being tortured goes nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's just his
backstory.
So
he escapes because Laura and...
Wednesday causes a train wreck.
Yeah, Wednesday is... So, are Wednesday's vehicles Valkyries?
No, they're like horses or mounts or steeds, because he says the bike's like a boar.
But doesn't he also say something like, it keeps you warm, or she'll keep you warm at night or something? There's like a weird offhanded sexualized...
No, I just assume they're like, personified mounts and stuff like that. Like,
Oh, I thought they were
war
like
boars or war wolves.
Valkyries or something.
No, because Valkyries are
Ladies.
women, yes.
Yeah, that's why. Well, they all have female names.
That's true, yeah.
Bertha.
No, but when he talks about the motorcycle, he specifically references it's this animal
Oh,
personified.
I missed that. I thought he just said. I thought he said something about it keeping warm at night.
Oh, you sleep in the car. It's Betty is the car.
Yeah, Betty. Yeah.
Betty's the car. But yeah, so he parks the car, and then he gives this big long speech, which is pretty hilarious. And then Nancy's like,
Also,
"No one's going to Valhalla. I'm out of here."
At the same time that's happening, Deadwife and Sweeney are killing a bunch of people, and she's super brutal about it, and Shadow Moon is kind of put off.
A little.
Yeah.
Well, she crushes that dude's head at the end.
Yeah, with her boot.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, train crashes.
Yeah.
Deadwife's arm's ripped off. Wednesday puts her in the trunk of the car, which the car is fine because the car is magical.
Yeah.
Sweeney, Wednesday, and girl, Deadwife,
Yeah.
book it. Shadow wakes up. He's very hurt.
He's in the middle of nowhere.
He crawls over to
Eventually a pond or well.
It's like a fountain.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, something. He drinks some of the water, and it says like go to Cairo.
Mm-hmm. I missed the line. Maybe I sneezed or something.
Yeah, it was something stupid.
Yeah.
So he goes, walks to a convenience store, tries to rip off the convenient clerk, which I appreciated because that's kind of his character.
Yes.
Then, what's her name?
Raven.
Raven?
Or something like that.
Yeah, who's like a two-soul.
Yeah.
Which people got really mad at Twitter because they said it was transphobic, but I don't really understand. Because she was saying she had a female and male soul, and she would have been a god, but she's not a god.
Right.
Anyways.
But how is it transphobic?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand.
Or I guess maybe because there's only two. That's it, yes.
Oh, no. No, sorry. He was getting accused of being transphobic for Sandman.
Oh.
I don't remember why. Anyways. Who cares? Twitter's not real. They go in the car. They have a conversation. I liked that bit.
Yeah, I liked it as well.
I thought it was cute.
It felt actually like there was some story progression.
It was good. It was like a nice relationship between them.
Yeah.
That happens in the book too, doesn't it? But it doesn't happen in the third act.
I don't remember where it happens, but he does meet her.
Because I feel like they're friends at the end of the book. Anyways.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We got something from the book. Woohoo!
Yeah, fair enough.
So then...
Drops him off at Cairo.
Yeah. So Deadwife's at the morgue. They sew her arm back on. Wednesday's like, I know how to make you live again. She's like, cool. So then they go to Argus, who's working for Mr. World and Dr. Techno Boy.
Yeah.
And they had to do things. And then...
Yeah, actually I really liked the sacrifice scenes that Wednesday and Deadwife had to go through every time to get through the next level of Argus's memory.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
That was cool. They killed a cow, they burnt a library.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you gotta kill Argus.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're a prick. And he's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So she goes and she stabs Argus to get out. And then she feels her heartbeat again or something?
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Yeah, it revitalizes the coin and she feels her heartbeat again.
Because she likes killing things.
Well, or it's just killing the god absorbs some of that magical power, right? Kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then... Moon.
But at that same time, Technical Boy and New Media were there.
Oh god, yeah, that was such a cringe-worthy scene.
Yes, it was.
Because New Media decides to fuck Argus.
Yes. And
it's
also...
so stupid.
I also didn't like Technical Boy's data. I felt like there was just dialogue. It felt like there was just a bunch of internet references for the hell of it. And I was like, come on, ugh.
I know, but lol.
Yeah, basically. Because that's, New Media is portrayed as just vapid etc. Just like for the likes and you know, like a K-pop star almost, or an idol from Japan.
Like an Instagram model.
Yeah, and
influencer.
Which is fine, but I was just like, this character's annoying.
Yeah, they could have gotten a really stereotypical like Instagram looking model to do it.
Well, and that's why I think it's more of a mix of like a K-pop, Japanese idol kind of type character.
But if they wanted to go for vapid and only going for likes, I think that would have been a better route.
I don't know. I think K-pop star / idol is a really good route because people love them. So.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, doesn't matter.
Anyway, she stabs Argus, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He dies.
Great. Then, Dead Wife decides to go to New Orleans because that's where Sweeney
said, hey, I know, he basically, when she was deciding to either go with Wednesday or Sweeney, and he was like, look, in New Orleans, there's the Baron. He can help you.
But it'll cost you.
And then Wednesday was like, no, you just come with me. I know it'll be way quicker. Yeah, it'll be way quicker. So Sweeney is on a journey to New Orleans, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
Filled with misadventure.
Yeah, because he's not lucky, because he's away from
his coin.
So she goes there.
Yeah.
While that's happening, Shadow makes it to the morgue.
Yeah, he gets to Cairo.
Is that when the weird lynch stuff happens?
Kinda, yeah, like, so that when he first gets there, he meets Wednesday and he's like, look, I'm out. And then Wednesday's like, okay, no, just stay the night. If you don't feel good, then you can leave 100%.
Oh, right, and then he has sex with a cat.
He has sex with the cat goddess. and then he feels great the next day. Surprise.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And then I believe, there's a little bit there, and then it goes into the stuff with his name. So this is episode 5. His name was Froggy James. And this is when they're starting to introduce like outside weird elements into their their own ideas that aren't as good as the original ideas.
Yeah, so this storyline really doesn't make any edition didn't make any sense or add anything to it for me, with the exception of, if you know the book, you know that Shadow dies on a tree in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of lynching, hanging from a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Is a repeated theme. Yeah,
that was in my season 1 notes, where I really liked the world tree, and he always has bad dreams about it, and he always is climbing a mountain of skulls and sees Chenabog up there and everything. It's great.
Because that's what he's doing in the book, right?
Yes, but then in season 2...
The Buffalo God and stuff.
And they kind of shunt that aside in season 2.
Mostly. It does come back, I think, in the last episode, or second last episode.
Not really. Like, the world tree comes back, but not...
Kind of has like a moment of climbing some skulls.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. But anyway,
I don't really understand how it ended, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, back to your point. Because he does get almost lynched in season 1. Yeah. And then now, he's having all these vivid images of being lynched again.
Yeah. So to me, that's the only part of that is a positive addition to adding that story, right? Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
We get it that racism is bad, and we are 2 white people, and we are not qualified to talk about it.
We're also from Canada, where we didn't have slavery. So.
We had slavery, didn't we?
No.
Well, we did horrible things to indigenous people.
Yes, but not African slavery, let's say.
Okay, so let's put all that aside and just focus on story elements. Mm-hmm. It's weird that they're bringing it in. Yeah. It is a conversation worth happening, and it's worth happening with people who are more educated and who have experienced it, unlike us.
Yeah, well, and this, like you're saying, going back to Anansi, because every time he shows up, because he's portrayed as an African god. Yeah. So he's like, all these things that are happening, people are terrible, blah, 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 and he has a lot of tirades about it. His performances are great, but I was just like the whole time, I'm like, is that Nancy's focus though? I couldn't remember. And I'm like, that's fine if they want to change it, because then again, he's an African god of like vengeance and war, and I'm like, okay, cool, right? But he's like a spider god. Like I almost picture more as a trickster god, right? Like,
100%. That's how it was in the books.
Was it the war or trickster?
Trickster.
Right. That's exactly it. I'm like, he's more of a trickster god.
Actually, I think in
because that's Odin's war, of course. In Nancy Boys?
In Nancy Boys, thank you. Like, isn't that like there's all those side stories about like monkey and tiger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the monkey's tricking the tiger all the time?
And so anyway.
Okay.
So they introduced this story though, Froggy James, a black man who was seen near a white woman who eventually died, and he gets blamed for it, lynched, beheaded, beaten, everything terrible happened to him possible. And then his spirit lives on to still capture...
As a flaming head, and he captures the souls, or people have to get sacrificed to him, essentially. Yeah.
And it's usually young black males.
So, on a side note, what's the name of the guy that runs the morgue again?
Ibis. Yeah. There's two Egyptian gods. It's Anubis and Ibis.
Right.
And Jakal, I think it is. Or sorry, it's Ibis and Jakal, because Jakal's the dog god.
Right.
And then Anubis shows up only a couple times.
So Ibis doesn't... I wasn't paying attention. Did he have like a weird loophole where he gets a bunch of like black people dead from the town?
That's what Anansi is accusing him of. Is that this spirit is killing people and that it's coming to him.
Yeah.
And sustaining him.
And that's why he doesn't care about
the upcoming war or the fact that he's not being worshipped anymore. He's like, I still get my souls and my bodies or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So Nancy accuses him of that.
Yeah.
And it's probably 100% true.
But they never confirm it, right?
That's right. They never address it again.
Because they don't do that. They bring something up and then they...
Well, and the weird thing is that Shadow sees the spirit, and he kind of has a weird moment with it.
And then it's in his eyeballs.
It possesses him.
That was a really cool effect, seeing the flames in his eyeballs.
Sure, it possesses him, and he goes to a funeral, and then he just says Memento Mori. Which made me kind of chuckle because we'd just seen that in a previous series. And
so much better in a series of unfortunate.
Yeah, and then but then he just wakes up and there was nothing. It didn't. Yeah. Was the spirit excised because he got to tell people? Is Shadow affected by it in some way? We don't know.
Yeah, because this show is bad.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was episode 5. We kind of skipped.
What did we skip? I don't know.
Oh no, we talked about Mama G being everywhere.
Yeah, I really liked Mama G. I liked that she had.
So that was the same episode that they're in New Orleans.
Really?
Yeah, with Sweeney and Dead Wife.
So Dead Wife and Sweeney are in New Orleans to talk to the Baron to get her alive again.
Yes.
And he wants truth from her in exchange for a potion that is an incomplete potion.
Yeah.
And when he asks her to tell him the truth, she makes out with him.
Yeah. And I was like, you didn't even answer the question.
Yeah. So they make boink.
Yeah.
And while they're making boink, Sweeney and Baron's wife also make boink. And then they have a weird...
partner switch?
They have a weird astral projection orgy.
Yeah.
And then
because they're Iowa, I think it is.
What's that?
Voodoo death gods.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I missed that because I wasn't paying attention anymore.
Fair enough.
And then
I like the Baron's look, of course. He looks like a Baron voodoo guy from New Orleans.
He looks great.
Yeah. And so does she.
She looks great too. Yeah. They were awesome.
Yeah.
And I liked their characters, and the actors were good, and the acting was good. It's too bad that they're in this shitty shitbag of a show.
Yeah.
So then the potion requires 2 drops of blood from somebody or infused with love.
Yeah, but so it's not specified who's in love with who, it's just infused with love. Yeah.
Really dumb.
Yes.
So then the next day, Laura and Leprechaun see each other, and it's awkward. And then they get mad and she runs off and he runs off.
Yeah.
Great. Then do we have the Donnie episode? Is that the next one, the burlesque one?
No.
Did I miss it?
No, that's that we kind of missed a little bit that Wednesday he sends the djinn and the cab driver to go get his spear back.
Oh yeah, that was stupid. Everything in this show.
Yeah, but then eventually, so he's got the spear and he's like, I gotta get it repaired. So they go meet the Dwarf King. Which that was a good scene.
Yeah.
Because he's in a factory and then he's just like, not totally a dwarf. And then that leads eventually to, in episode 6, where he's trying to get the spear repaired.
Right.
And they go to the mall.
I liked that too, and
Yeah.
I liked that the spear needs the runes to be
Needs the
fixed,
runes, yeah.
and the dude that is the rune guy needs Lou Reed's jacket.
Yeah. Lou Reed's leather jacket.
Yeah, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Lou Reed? That must have been a Neil Gaimanism because he was in a punk band.
Ah, yes. So yeah, and then they pull a swing, they heist a swindle to get the jacket, to get to the dwarf.
Yes.
Get him the spear.
This was the best episode in season 2. Agree?
I don't know, I have a note here about why more filler. What was filler in this episode?
So the whole burlesque thing was probably filler.
Right.
But I enjoyed it.
But it was good filler.
It was good filler.
Right, yes, because we learned what happened to Odin's son. That's right.
Yeah, so we get a backstory. Odin had a burlesque joint
In Chicago.
in Chicago. His son was a Nazi weightlifter.
Well, no, so part of the act was he would lift stuff or whatever, and then 'cause he's Thor, and then Nazis are like, we want to sponsor him in like these weightlifting events, and they're like, okay, so of course he's winning them all, and then it sounds like he goes some boxing, and then they wanted him to take a dive against a German opponent.
Yeah.
So they were setting him up to like lose.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
But Odin the entire time was like, no, just do anything because then it gets your name out there and you get more worship. We get more worship. We get stronger because of this. Right?
Yeah. And Donnie, who's Thor, had a love interest with Columbia, who was another god?
Yeah, they call her Miss Columbia, so I assume some sort of god or a goddess, of course, yeah.
Anyways, she's a burlesque performer too, and she has the cutest sequin rhinestone all-American cowgirl outfit. I just loved that. Was my favorite. I think I loved it for the costume. There we go. I'm like, ooh, rhinestone.
Yeah. Well, and then, but the whole time, Columbia's like, we should run away to California.
Yeah, because they're in love.
And, she's like, we get away, we can do our own thing. And Donnie, eventually, when the Germans are like, hey, take a dive, he's like, no, let's run away to California.
But Odin has little ravens that know what's going on. Yeah. So he convinces Columbia that he's already gone.
Yes.
And then he introduces her to Techno Boy.
Yeah.
Who has, I guess, a crush on her or whatever, and wants to use her for the face of the war effort.
Yes.
She becomes Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The We Can Do It poster.
I have a poster like that. Yeah. So.
And then Odin confronts Thor and says, oh no, she's doing her own thing. Yeah. Like, you should stay.
And immediately Thor is like, you fucked us up, didn't you?
Basically. And they kind of fight, and they have a falling out. Thor breaks the spear.
Yeah, and then
what's the spear's name? Grungir, I think it is?
Grendel.
No, it's not. I think it's Grungir. But anyway.
Yeah.
He breaks it with Mjolnir.
Yeah. And then he shoots himself.
And then eventually we learn he shoots himself and kills himself in 1942.
That's the only way to kill a god.
One of the ways that they can kill a god that they won't come back
is by
suicide. Yeah. Which was sad. I was like, oh, I don't remember that.
Just because it wasn't in the book.
I guess, okay. Fair enough.
You don't remember it because you were never introduced to it.
There we go. Actually, speaking real briefly back at Technical Boy, I liked in episode 4, they show a young Japanese, I assume, or Asian child, and he's playing piano, and then he goes into computers, and
I thought this was harsh filler.
Oh yeah, no, it totally was, but then it's like, so I thought it was like the creation of Technical Boy.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, that was kind of a neat guy, because they do it over the funeral, but I guess it was just sort of summoned him, in a sense, because then we're showing that he was alive previously. And I was kind of like, oh, that kind of took away from that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So that story was harsh filler, but I felt like it would have been a better and more interesting show to be about the life of that Asian boy.
Yeah.
Than American Gods.
Oh, snap.
I'm bitter.
So the burlesque stuff was really good, and like I said, it was just kind of like we get some backstory with Wednesday, and that like not everything. Well, we always knew it wasn't going well, but it's like because even Shadow's like everyone knows Thor. Like how is he not powerful or popular?
Yeah.
It's like no,
because he killed himself.
Because he killed himself, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then that leads us into episode
7,
which was bad.
Yeah.
And episode 8, which was worse.
Well, episode 7
That's all you need to know.
had we find Sweeney on the ground in Cairo. Shadow brings him to the.
Can I intersperse for 1 minute? Because we're gonna talk about some stuff that varies vastly from the different. Can't even talk because I'm so mad. I loved Sweeney's death in the book.
Right. I don't remember how he dies in the book.
He's just been away from the coin for too long.
Oh, really?
And he just dies.
Oh, okay.
And then he sits up in his wake.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I don't remember.
And then they drink a lot.
Oh, okay. That's good.
And it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Also, like, in the book, Shadow just takes the coin back from Laura, and it's kind of like he's over her.
Yeah.
Like, it's metaphorical.
But it's at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she dies.
And she dies, yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the book better.
Sure.
I like the book better. Devin's review of American
Shocking. But so Sweeney's there, and then we get a bunch of his backstory.
Yep.
Which, again, as someone who was thinking this show shouldn't go on for too much longer, I was like, why are they doing this?
That was filler.
Yes. And like, it was kind of cool. Like, just like basically he was like, hey, I was a king. Because maybe he can't remember.
So cool.
Yeah, he looked like a guy who belonged in the times.
Yeah.
And like, he was like, I was a king, but then the priesthood started like spreading lies about us.
And he's fairy.
He's a fairy folk, and then, loses his powers. But then we get some kind of like muddled story with him, because Ibis is like, no, story is more powerful. And, he's like, you were this other king god and blah, blah. And, he's like, no, that wasn't me.
Well, no, because he like killed his grandfather that had one eye, and he's like, no, it wasn't him, it was Odin.
It was Odin, but then he also says, no, it wasn't me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, no, that wasn't me. So...
This show's confusing because they don't know what they want to do.
Yeah, there's some muddledness there. And so previous to that, as well, is he goes to Shadow, and he's like, this was so weird to me. Because the whole setup, because he's like, steals Shadow's lucky coin, sends it to the Horde, and he's like, I'll give it back if you promise when the time comes you just stay out of the way.
Yeah, when the time comes for someone to die, you stand out of the way.
And I'm like, okay. And then, spoiler alert, he tries to kill Wednesday with the spear. And Shadow is like, no, I'm not going to give you the spear. And he's like, we had a deal, we're fighting. And I was like, why are you trying to kill Wednesday? Like...
I thought he was going to kill himself. That's fair. Because to me, like, thematically that makes sense. We've just learned that a god dies if he kills himself.
Right.
He's... at the end of his rope, he's hearing the banshees.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what his past is. And then he has that conversation with Ibis.
Yeah.
Where he's like, Ibis is like, he gives him $20 and he's like, won't you need this tomorrow? And he's like, not thinking about tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, hey, this is leading up to his suicide. Then he goes and talks to Shadow. Yeah. And he's like, when the time comes and death is coming for one of us, don't stand in the way. And Shadow's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but whatever.
Whatever, you're a crazy leprechaun.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, he's gonna kill himself. He doesn't want anyone to stop him.
Okay. Yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense?
That actually very much does make sense.
That instead he tries to kill Odin, and it's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, because then him and Shadow fight, and then Shadow eventually spears him.
And it kind of looks cool.
Yeah, sort of. But then he's like, he shunts the spear to the Horde.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I was like, cool, I guess.
Yeah, but like,
I didn't.
It's adding more plot elements that's not in the book.
and to be fair, like I said, I didn't remember that he had died previously. Like I was like, oh, I didn't want him to die. And I was like,
he just dies.
Yeah.
He's been away from the coin and he just doesn't have any magic left and he dies. Well, that's how it is in the book.
Well, and I was thinking as well that he was talking about like that there would be some sort of death figure that would come for somebody. So like you said, maybe it would come for him because he's been away from the coin too long or whatever. And then he didn't want Shadow to die like that. And I was like, oh,
Oh, no. I totally thought he was going to kill himself. And it would have made sense given all of my proof. Yeah. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And then that just ends the episode.
Yeah. And then we get into the last episode, which is stupid.
Yeah. So it's like nothing happens.
Yeah.
Even though this is the climax episode of the show.
So,
Of season 2, anyway.
Shadow takes a nap on a tombstone, on a coffin, on a sarcophagus.
Yes.
And he wakes up and Laura's there.
Yeah.
And they break up.
Yeah, basically, you're kind of have a line, and he's just like, nah.
Don't call me puppy anymore.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
And then she's like, oh, I'm gonna go kill Wednesday, and he's like...
But first we had to have that origin scene of how he got the name Puppy.
Yeah, of course.
Why? I'm like, oh, we're getting more backstory? Great.
Yeah.
Oh, it was only 30 seconds? Why was this scene in here?
Yeah.
Did you just want to show Emily Browning hot again? Was that it? Was that the point? She doesn't look dead now? Like, but anyways, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She's gonna go kill Wednesday. She sees the pool of blood of Sweeney.
And Wednesday's already left.
Wednesday's gone.
Yeah.
She has a conversation with the sexy goddess where she's like, help me punch him in the face.
Basically.
And she's like, I don't know. I'm going to leave this apple here.
Yeah.
For reasons.
And
then what else happens? Techno Boy.
Well, this was Mr. World, and so Techno Boy comes back as Quantum Boy. He's wearing
We forgot to mention that he died.
He dies, yeah. Well, Mr. World kills him, and then so they're revving him back as Quantum Boy, apparently.
Yeah.
And he comes back as in this Tron suit, and then
which is stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of bad, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the costume is really good, and he has some dialogue, and with the Asian boy who's now a man who created him again, but their play is that they just hack every system on the planet and then dump everything to like the FBI, and then they control the television networks to be like, hey, these people are criminals, aka Shadow and the cabbie and Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, they need to be stopped, etc.
And this entire time, which I don't know how long this takes, Wednesday's eating a steak.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world is freaking out.
Yeah, you're right, because it sounds like, like banks have halted taking credit card transactions.
Yeah.
Because, the whole point is Mr. World is like, fear controls people.
Right.
It makes you do things, not love and etc. Right? So he's causing panic. So I guess banks aren't doing credit transactions, and gas is like, you see people lined up at gas stations, and
it's the end times. Yeah,
there's chaotic end times. But we saw chaotic end times at the end of season 1, and then it was just kind of brushed over.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then so new media is being newscasters around the world, and he's like, hey, blah blah blah. So I liked that.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like the resolution to this, which I assume you were getting to.
Well.
Is like, what?
Yeah. So Shadow goes and gets some cash. He
also has a scene with the sexy goddess.
Yeah, he hallucinates or something, or.
Well, I just assume they have god powers. They can disappear when they want to.
Yeah, they kind of kiss or something.
Yeah. She gives him like a blessing.
She Simbas him.
Like totally with like red blood / ink.
Yeah. Then he's going to. I don't think I was paying attention at this point. He's going to leave.
Yes. But then the cops show up.
Yeah. The cabbie's freaking out. And so he goes to the shed?
Yeah, he goes to the shed, and then he's going to leave out the back, but then the world tree grabs him.
Oh, I missed that.
No, the world tree grabs him, sucks him in, but he manages to grab an axe on the way in. To the world tree, and then we get some scenes like you were saying where he's in the world tree, sees the skull pile again, sees Chenabog again, but he's just kind of like, I'm in branches, and then he cuts his way out. But as he's doing that, there's like this weird intercut of, I assume, him as a child with like a house and a play set.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you gotta not be where they are, and then he just wipes the toys away, and then all the cops are gone.
Yeah, and there's like a blue flash of light or something.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Is it implying?
And then we also get some.
Well, and then we get some intercuts as well with his mom and Odin and blah blah, and it's heavily implied, of course, that he's Odin's son.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, okay, so then he does do something godlike to get rid of all of the cops.
Right.
Is what I surmise, but it was not well executed.
Nope.
Yeah. And then he wakes up on a bus.
Yeah. And he's got the name that he's given when he goes to the town in the book.
Yeah.
Ansel.
Yes.
Because
they get stopped by some cops, and he's like, oh man,
that's what season 3 will be.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, I'm gonna get caught. But then the cops just like, oh, have a nice night, Mr. Ansel.
Yeah. Because of god powers.
And then that's the show ends.
Oh, and Laura, dead wife,
Right.
walks down the street with
Sweeney's corpse.
Yeah. Because they assume she's going to use his blood because he's in love with her now and bring him back.
I don't know. She has the potion on her, so she didn't have to take his corpse.
Well,
away.
no, I thought she was going to give him the potion.
Yeah, but like, she could have done it there.
Yeah, but she didn't want to do it in front of other people.
I guess, sure, yeah.
I don't know.
I also don't know. And yeah, then the show just kind of ends.
Yeah, it's done.
Well, and here's a big thing we didn't mention. Throughout the show, there's intercuts with, again, Mr. Ibis, and he's writing in his book, usually like a story related to a god coming to America.
Yeah.
Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of them are related to the gods in the story, some of them are not.
Yeah.
Mostly because because it's a TV show type adaptation, they focus on the ones that are in the show.
Yeah.
In the book, they show up literally and then they're gone.
Yeah, it's like a one chapter, one off, and it's basically just to illustrate how these old gods have fallen on hard times.
Yeah, or how their followers created them in a sense, and then they faded.
Them.
Yeah, because their followers died or whatever.
Like the leprechaun story.
But in the show, actually in season 1, I did enjoy the leprechaun story. Actually, that was probably one of my favorite episodes of that season because it felt like an actual season of it, or an episode of a television show. Where it was like,
what?
Yeah, I know. Where I was like, wow, I'm watching like a story and it's kind of good and it's telling some characters and there's some compelling stuff. So it was.
I don't remember it.
He tells the story of the leprechaun and it's
like
Emily
a
Browning.
redhead girl.
Yeah, and she was like a thief and then like was sent back and forth to America, but she's like a con woman.
Oh yeah.
And then
I remember.
Eventually she settles in America with like a tobacco farmer who eventually dies and. He shows up. He's still there, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's been happening in the show, but like you said, sometimes it seems like ultra filler, sometimes it's not, which is unfortunate because it should be a cool element of the show.
Yep. Should be,
but it's not.
I would have. I think this story could have benefited from being one season long. Like maybe 10 episodes instead of 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have like focused on like 3 god stories.
Right.
Maybe one for each act or something.
I like the idea of, say, doing 3 seasons. It wasn't executed well enough, I think, at this point. If you're going to do 2 seasons, that's fine as well. Because one book.
They're talking about doing 4 seasons.
Yeah, one book into 2 seasons almost makes a lot of sense because it's like you got half the book, other half, done.
You got the Hobbit here and there.
Exactly. Okay, if you want to do 3, okay, fine. You do a third.
Okay.
That can kind of make sense. But the American Gods book is not very big. It's a 330 pager, let's say, 350. I don't know. Which that's the same length as the season 1. And the same size book that Game of Thrones is, which was a 10 episode, 1 season, right? So it's like, it can be done.
It should be done that way.
Yeah. So I was shocked that they were that it was 2 seasons.
Yeah, they're just
and now I'm shocked that
running with the idea of the show.
That's exactly it. I feel like they really liked the concept and then they're like, oh, well, we can just keep doing stuff with it. That's fine, like you were saying in the beginning, but it almost seems like the main plot that they're telling isn't making sense as well.
Oh my god, no.
So it's like...
So one of my favorite things about the book is like the quiet parts of the book, like the road trips and when they're eating and they're like talking about the food they're eating, like there's like a part where they go to a diner like all the time and they get Cornish pasties and he's talking about how it's like kind of food that sticks to your ribs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I like in the book.
Yeah.
And it's the stuff that makes everything grounded and feel human so that when extraordinary things happen, it's actually extraordinary.
Yeah.
Instead of it all being one note at the highest possible level.
Maximum levels, Devin. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like overall, like I actually really did enjoy season 1. I think more than you did. From the sounds of it. But then I rolled right into season 2, and for me, I really I enjoyed the beginning of season 2. I was like, oh yeah, this is getting and then my enjoyment waned as the season went on, unfortunately, because I was like, I should like this show more. Like it's about Odin and in modern times, and like this seems like this should be like a slam dunk.
They're not. I think we need to talk about production issue.
All right, yeah, sure.
Because I
have a big half-page about it.
I think that it's very clear that it's not one person's vision.
Sure, absolutely. Or two people's vision, let's say.
Two people's vision.
Yeah.
And it's not a direct adaptation of the book.
Sure.
And it's kind of not anything. Because
at
it's
this point,
trying to be everything.
Yeah, unfortunately at this point, yes.
But Dan, why don't you tell the tale?
Oh, snap. Okay, well, here's from the notes. So in May 2017, the series was renewed for a second season. So it was never even guaranteed that there was a second season. Then in November, in that same year, 2017, it was announced that Fuller and Green were departing from the show and were to be replaced as showrunners for season 2. And they had written roughly half the scripts for season 2 already.
Okay.
But they were like, we're departing or whatever.
You know why they departed?
No.
Okay, they departed because they didn't feel like... They felt like the network was making them...
Stars and Ferment Media, I believe it is.
Was making them depart too much from the original book.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, that's coming up.
Yeah, okay.
So then that's what they were feeling, right?
That's what they were feeling, and that's why they left.
And then they were out, okay.
And that's why Gillian Anderson left, because they left, and that's why Kristen Chenoweth left.
Oh, yes, which was in my next note. January 2018. Anyway, so the Star's president and CEO, Chris Albrecht, clarified the ongoing struggle with mounting a second season, including Anderson and Chenoweth. Fuller and Green's involvement, of course, that they were not fired, nor did they quit, given their schedules and showrunner and budget concerns. They were stressing the difficulty of adapting, and the networks, like you said, were just getting in the way. But like they were still like, no, we're doing it, we're committed. Fermental Media is the other backer.
I think they got a good reception for season 1, and they wanted to do a multi-season show.
Right.
With no foreseeable end.
Yes, where I'm sure the other guys were like, nah. Like 2 or 3 here.
Yeah.
And so February that same in 2018, Jesse Alexander, writer for Fuller's Hannibal and Star Trek Discovery, was announced as co-showrunner of the second season alongside Gaiman. But then in September 2018, it was reported that Alexander had been removed as showrunner by the Stars and Fermental Media. And the series was 6 weeks behind schedule at this point, forced again to go on hiatus due to having unfinished scripts for the season finale. Alexander had submitted multiple drafts, all of them rejected.
Yeah.
And of course, the original 6 episodes that Fuller and Green had written also were thrown away.
Yeah.
When they were shown the door. Let's see, they wanted to trim it from 10 episodes to 8 because they wanted to save on the budget, because the first season, which was this was crazy, went $30 million over budget.
Why did it look so bad?
That's what's so crazy, because there are some things that look so good and then some that do not.
Season 2 looked better than season 1. But there were lots of times where I was like, did they...
What up?
Was this done by unpaid interns?
Yeah.
I could not make anything that good.
Sure.
Let me stress that. But it was not up to the standard of television.
So apparently cast members were unhappy with new scripts, and there was all sorts of rewrites and sometimes being rewritten on set. And then apparently Stars, the network, was unhappy with Alexander's direction of the material, which was more conventional, different from Fuller and Green's atmospheric and hypnotic tone.
Oh.
Yeah. And then so with no showrunner, unfortunately, producing director Chris Byrne, and line producer Lisa Kusner were left in charge. So unfortunately, there was no one to have the singular vision, or no pair of people to be like, this is how it's going to go, right? And that's why the season 2 really does feel like that's what happened.
Interesting.
I do have a note here from Neil Gaiman from an interview in 2016.
Yeah.
Where he was discussing the show and beyond the first season, if it was going to keep going that way, and noting that the first season only covers the first third of the novel, and the second season was intended to cover the lakeside section of the novel. And a big pivotal thing that happens to Mr. Wednesday would be kind of like a season finale. That never happened. It was obviously pushed back for a potential third season.
And fourth.
I guess.
They just want a show.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but...
But I think in this day and age, especially with like good serialized television, let's say I'm kind of more on Alex and Fermental and Fuller and Green, where they were like, no, this can only work as like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome. It'll be a great 2 or 3 season show.
People will buy the DVDs.
Yeah, but that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the stars are like, no, we can keep this going. And it's like, no.
We can make that coin.
Yeah. This is not Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Then people can represent their favorite god, and we'll make merch, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Stars also did Ash vs. the Evil Dead, didn't they?
I actually don't know.
I think they did.
But you enjoyed that show a lot, right?
First season was excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Second season, I stopped watching it halfway through.
Not a good sign.
Nope.
So yeah, maybe it just seems like there's the outside influence of like, oh, we've got it kind of a hit, let's keep it rolling, and it's like, no, the story, which I thought we were beyond that, like where it's like, it's the story here, guys. This is what we got to tell. It'll be great, and it'll be over.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm pretty sure that's what they've done with Good Omens.
Right.
I think it's a 100% Prime show.
Yeah, see, I was unaware that this was shared by other backers and other networks. I was under the assumption it was Prime only. And
that's what I thought too, but yeah. I remember because it only came on 1 episode a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure Good Omens is 100% Prime, and it's a closed story.
Like just in 1 season?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
I'll let you know in 2 hours.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I've only watched 1 episode of it.
Yeah, so, I mean, unless you have some more notes about some background production stuff, that's what I was able to kind of dig up.
That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, so it was just funny because when I was doing some research on the show for this episode, and I started reading that, and I was like, oh, now it's all becoming clearer here.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, and it's, again, very unfortunate that, like we've discussed this many times on the show, that you hire these people, and then you start messing around with what they're doing, and it's like, and then they get mad and they leave, or not get mad, but they feel that they're like, I can't tell the story I want to tell. I'm out. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The audiences are more discerning, they're smarter, and they don't have time for it anymore.
Nope.
There are so many shows to watch that from the past and the present that people don't want to give their time to a crappy show anymore, right? Like,
unless they have to review it for a podcast.
Well, that's why we're doing it, for the people.
Yeah, listen, don't make the same mistake we did.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem is, like I was saying, I enjoyed many elements of the show.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just overall no.
There are so many good actors.
Yeah.
It's so well cast.
Mm-hmm. The costuming
is fantastic.
super good. The sets are all really good. When they go to the House on the Rock, it was very, I don't know where they were, but it was really well done.
Very, very cool, yeah.
Yeah, like, and the carousel, of course, that they ride. And
it was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Even like all the detail in like Chandler Boggs' apartment, and it's all like dingy New York or Chicago, apartment and everything, and you're just like, they had to make that, and it looks great.
Yep. Too bad that the story sucks. It's weird. This is a very good example of you can have everything else be perfect, but if you have a bad story, you don't have a good product.
I guess, yeah. And again, I don't know to the extent of Neil Gaiman's involvement. I know that he gets a producer credit because he wrote the book, but
yeah, I wonder if some of the stuff in it is like because he wrote it in 2001, 20 years ago now, give or take.
Yeah.
If he's
like that was when it was published. So
yeah. If he's just his imagination has been running wild with what ifs. Mm-hmm. And maybe he wanted to throw some of that in there.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, what if the sex god was in it more?
Yeah, instead of because in the book it's just a one-off story.
Yeah.
Right? And same like because they do the one-off story with the mammoth god Cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I don't know if do you want to get into major book spoilers or do you want to discuss, what do you want to discuss more?
Well, we're at 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, shit.
So I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know how much longer you want to go on for, which is fine.
Well, here we go. The book
It's better.
is better. The book ending, if I may. So this is a major spoiler. If you don't want to know this, turn us off right now here.
Go pause this. Go get a copy of American Gods and read it.
Sure.
And
Because I feel like it is clever.
Yeah.
The ending. So basically, what happens is it turns out Mr. World the whole time is actually Loki.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Odin set up a two-man con essentially to dupe everybody. They go to a huge battle, and every death essentially strengthens Odin. Shadow does show up. Oh yeah, Mr. Wednesday dies. Shadow does his crucifixion thing. Super cool.
Yeah. Does a sacrifice.
Does a sacrifice. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Shadow shows up and he's like, hey, you're all being duped, blah, blah, blah. And then the war just kind of ends.
Yeah.
And then someone tries to kill him, but Laura saves him. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. And then he takes the
And then he takes the coin back.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Europe, meets original Odin, and he's kind of like, hey.
Oh yeah.
He's like, hey, you did a bad thing there, and he's like, oh, that wasn't me. It was he was me, but I'm not him. Kind of, I think is the line.
Yeah.
And then he gives him Odin's glass eye, and then that's the end. And then he pulls a coin out of the air.
Yeah.
From the horde.
And then there's a follow-up short story that's written later about Shadow traveling around Europe, and he's talking to a monster at a bar.
I really don't remember that.
No, it was like in a different.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the book.
Oh, okay.
The monster's like, you're a monster too, and he's like, kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, he's half god.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
The book is very clever.
Yeah, it's very cool, very clever.
Much better.
And then I would recommend reading A Nancy Boys as well.
Yeah, that's just a fun story.
It is a very fun story.
It's almost like a little romantic comedy that has gods in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the show, I enjoyed much about it, but overall I would not recommend watching it, unfortunately.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I want to tell people to watch it because there were so many cool things about it.
I want to tell people to read the book.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and I don't know, like I said, well made, great casting, great costumes and everything, but it just falls flat, unfortunately. And I think it's mostly in the second season. The first season's pretty strong overall.
I didn't really like it.
I feel the climax was weak.
Yeah.
But I thought the first season had a lot good going for it.
Yeah. Ish.
Anywho.
I would not recommend it. It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's enough out of me on this topic.
Alright, so you can follow us on social media. We're at Tome of Uselessness.
On new media. Da, 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 da.
We're not on Snapchat though. Fuck Snapchat.
Yeah.
You can go to our website, which is tomeofuselessness.com. And we would like to hear from you if you have any questions for us, if you have any recommendations for us, if you think that we're absolutely wrong about things, or right, or I don't know what else. What else do people talk? You want to tell us about your dog? Cool. We have a email address that you can email us at, and it is...
Oh, it's just tomeofuselessness@gmail.com.
Okay.
It's linked off our website, of course.
No.
Or you can get to us on Instagram, as Devin said.
Yeah, or you can message us and DM us on Twitter, and I won't see it. Okay. I never go on our Twitter.
But I do check the email.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's about it. Have a good night.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Bye.